So, dear friends, this is like a divine riddle in our gospel today. What is it that the more you give away, the more of it you have? The more of it you give away, the more of it you have. Great. Lots of blank faces. So, the Lord finished the gospel with something that doesn't sound like something that Jesus would say. It almost sounds like he made a mistake, or he kind of got it backwards. It says, for anyone who has will be given more, and anyone who has not, even what he thinks he has, will be taken away. It kind of sounds like the rich are going to get richer and the poor are going to get poorer. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. What? It sounds wrong to say that those who have will be given more, and those who have not, even what they think they have, will be taken from them. What is it that the more of it you give away, the more of it you have? Okay, I'll give you the answer. So, the more we love, the more love we have. The more love we give away, the more love we have. So if you apply it very quickly to like a contemporary young gentleman, maybe in his 20s, living the life, living maybe somewhat selfishly, and maybe has a number of ladies on the go, and he likes having them as arm candy, I believe is the expression. So it's nice for him to hang out with pretty girls, and so he goes out and socializes, and maybe, okay, so he gets one pregnant. So he has been living life on his rules, on his terms, as he wishes, following his passions, doing exactly what he wants, but ultimately not really loving, because that's not actually love. Treating people like that isn't actually love. Love wants the good of the other. Love wills that the other actually attain their ultimate good, which is heaven. So love wills the good of the other. Whereas just kind of sleeping around, that sort of thing, that's not willing the good of the other, that's willing my own pleasure. So, then if, say, you get someone pregnant like that, and then you walk away. Right. Now you've kind of lived a selfish life, then you get someone pregnant, and then you continue to choose selfishness, and move on with your life. Now, if you continue to live a life that way, what will you discover at the end of your life? Live life according to your passions and according to your pleasures and according to modern thought out there that in order to be happy, we have to fulfill ourselves on our terms. Do that now till you're 60, 70, 80. What do you think you're going to find at the end of a life like that? Loneliness. Loneliness, ultimately. Like you had 80 years of life to serve others and to love others. You use it for yourself. So even if you're rich, and even if you've lots of pictures with arm candy people and stars that you knew or dated, okay, and maybe even without even realizing a couple of children that you helped conceive along the way, but didn't actually know how to become a dad, know how to become a father to them. And then you end up, live your life according on your terms, as you wish. You'll actually end up miserable. What you think you had, freedom, no attachments, no roots, what you think you had is now taken from you. Rewind, back to the beginning of the story again. Guy in his 20s meets a lovely girl and decides to ask her out very honorably. He brings her out to a restaurant, and he makes sure that when he's sitting in the restaurant that he has her facing out of the restaurant, and he angles his chair so that he's facing her and the wall. He can only see her. She has his full attention. He pays for the meal because he's not an idiot, right? And then he invites her out again, and he is nice to her, and he treats her well, and he actually cares, and he holds the umbrella over her, getting soaked himself. And he closes the door, and he knows how to we have a gentleman now in the back of the chapel who knows how to do that little two-step, just to get a little bit ahead of her, just so you can open the door. Open the door for her. You open the door. Exactly. Open the door. That's what being a gentleman is all about. Opening doors. Opening doors. Open the door, and then you take care of her. Good. And after a year or two of whatever that dating process might engage, a bit of dancing and who knows what else. He gets down on one somewhat wobbly knee, opens the wee box. She says, yes. And then off they go. Okay, good. They get married. That's easy. That's not hard at all. Then they have a wee baba. I just got a message this morning from Michael and Vivian, who met here in Holy Family, who just gave birth, well, she did most of the work, I suppose, to a baby, a little baby who's just kind of just looking up at the light going, everything is like, that kind of like turtle look, it's just kind of, everything is slow motion. Then the cry kind of builds with the, yeah. Anyway, now, so for the next 2-ish years of their life, they will not have a full night's sleep. Okay? So, he's gone from this kind of romantic, nice kind of stage of his life with a wonderful girl. He took care of her. And now he's going to learn to take care of her and their son. Son? It is a son. It's a boy. And baby child, whatever. So he's going to learn now to function and love in a new way, sacrificing himself. So he lived a life that was loving, and now he's learning to love even more. And then if a second or a third, who knows how many other children will come along the way, and then your time is spread between loving your God first, then your wife, and then your kids. Keep them happy, play ball with them, help them with their homework, bring them to here, there, and everywhere, bring them to school, bring them home. Balance all of that. Hobbies. What hobbies? What hobbies? Right? No time for hobbies. Right? You have a family, priorities. Hobbies out the window until you retire. Okay? So you're giving and serving and loving, and it costs you day and night and money, and then the kids, when they're young, are relatively nice, and then they turn into teenagers. Oh, Mom, gosh, right? Dad, can you let me off from school, but we're not here yet. Yeah, I know, but half a mile, it's fine, I'll walk to school, okay? Are you ashamed of being seen with me? No, but here is fine. Do you know, that teenage phase when all the memories of how many diapers, or i.e. nappies, you filled as a child and were changed for you, all those memories are long gone, and then the teenage phase kicks in, and all of that, and your parents continue to still loving you. So they love, even though they get nothing in return. A newborn child until the ages of, 3-ish, will not say thank you. That's an awful lot of effort for no gratitude whatsoever. I've never heard once of a 2-year-old getting any sort of a thank you card for their parents. Unheard of. They're very ungrateful. They take an awful lot of work, and hence I became a priest. Very ungrateful. But the whole point is, the way this is designed and the way it develops in the human psyche and the way we function as human beings is it teaches us to love by self-sacrifice. That's the whole point. So, for anyone who has, will be given more. Because when you start loving, you start giving away your time and your hobbies and all that, you start to give them away. But the more you do that, the more love you have, because now you're learning how to love selflessly. You're learning how to put the needs of the other before your own. So you're learning to love selflessly. So when you have, you're given more. Whereas the other option that we saw, if you live selfishly, not selflessly, but selfishly, live for your own needs, live for your own pleasures, live for your own career, live for your own desires, your own passions, live all of that way, then even what you think you had is gone, is taken from you. So the way, the way God has planned love to work with all of its attractions and all of the various stages of it, ultimately, it's a school of love. Romantic relationships aren't just a means by which we procreate. That's fine for the animals. For us, there's something a little deeper than that, because we don't just procreate. We also try to stay monogamous, as in hopefully try more than try. we aim to be, to stay with a person until death separates us. Why? That's not necessary for the survival of the human race. In fact, if anything, if you want to increase our birth rate, abolish monogamy. Party. All right? But that's not what we do. Because we're learning not just to procreate, but we're learning how to love. And that's what creates a wholesome society. When the family that stays together and prays together and loves together makes society stable. Individuals who pursue their own pleasure make society unstable, because then there's no solid family unit. So what units do you use then to build society? Well, it's the individual. But the individual it's a kind of a unit, it's a very small unit, it's a very fragile kind of a unit. It's like building a society on lots of little grains of sand, as opposed to on bricks, you know? So it's not a strong foundation to build society on individuals. We build it on the building block of society, which should be the family. So, and why is that important? Because it's a school of love. See how it works? Like, even from a sociological perspective, God's idea, God's plan for the family works. Strong families, strong society. Weak families, weak society. And that's what we see happening. As the family unit falls apart, society goes to pot. Why? Because we're not learning to love selflessly. So the Lord does know what he's doing, and it's, as I said, when you see it played out, it makes perfect sense. So one of our goals here in Holy Family for the year is, through the work that we do and the service that we do and the vacuuming that we do and the wash up and the laundry and the changing beds and all that, that's where the rubber hits the road. That's where all this lovely theory and all these lovely ideas that we hear about in prayer and homilies and all these kind of things, that's where they actually are turned into action. They change from theory to practice. That's why it's very important that even from the beginning of monastic life, ora et labora was the basic rule of life. Ora, prayer. Labora, labor, work. Prayer and work. They balance too. You spend all the day in the chapel. Someone needs help. Yes, but I must pray. Someone needs, help peeling potatoes, unclogging blocked toilets. Yes, 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 but the Lord is calling me. That's not a sign of a good vocation. Okay? Ora et labora. Pray and work. Pray and work. Pray and serve. Why? Because that's how we learn to love. So we ask the Lord today, for ourselves, for our families, and indeed for our whole society, teach us, Lord, how to love. And we do so by willing the good of the other.